Holy shit, that happened. Making a Murder is a new Netflix documentary series about two main events in Wisconsin's man's life. First, in 1985, Stephen Avery was arrested and convicted of abusing and raping a woman. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison. In 2003, DNA evidence exonerated him of these allegations. To try and compensate for his time spent in jail, he sues the sheriff's office that collected all the evidence in this case. While watching this documentary, it leans on the fact that the sheriff's department had tunnel vision on Stephen Avery during the investigation due to his colorful past because he's been in the trouble with the law before, but every time he has been in trouble, he said, hey, it was my fault, I did it, but not in this case. So he was convicted, didn't convict his guilt, and he was in jail. And he's actually seen murderers that actually killed somebody plead guilty get out before he did. Amazingly, during the process of this lawsuit against the sheriff's department, a woman named Teresa Gregory went missing. It was reported that she went to Stephen Avery's house the day she went missing because she's a photographer for an Auto Trader magazine. He was the last stop of the day, and nobody talked to her or seen her afterwards. Lo and behold, her vehicle was found on Avery's lot due to the Avery's owning a junkyard, and a burn pit was found behind his house containing several bones. After DNA evidence found, they related to Teresa Gregory. Lo and behold, her vehicle was found on Avery's lot due to the Avery's owning a junkyard, and Stephen is arrested for murdering this woman. Watching this documentary, it's very striking, shocking to see how our court and police system operates in this one area of the county. I mean, one area of the world. It's just the small podunk town in Wisconsin. It's very scary to see how much power they could have because in most series there's going to be, obviously it's not going to be unbiased, it's going to lean towards one way or the other. This side definitely leans on pro Stephen Avery side, but only because the evidence presented doesn't convict anybody, but it shows that there could have been some tampering with evidence and not really following correct police protocol in these kind of cases, because during the investigation there's blood seen in Mr. Gregory's car, but it also is found out later in the documentary that possibly Stephen and his nephew killed her and raped her in his house and garage, but lo and behold, there's no DNA evidence of her in either of those two places. So it's very hard to believe how this could happen, especially because when they're testing, there's an actual test that the police department, or not the police department, the FBI does to say, oh, well, if the evidence would be tampered with or planted, there'd be some tracers. And they haven't done this test in years and years and years, but lo and behold, the day or 2 days before the trial gets done, hey, it gets done in time, and it shows that the results are inconclusive. So it's shocking to say the least. It's very scary. One of the log lines of the series is you always hope to never be convicted of murder. That doesn't mean people can't accuse you of one, because it really shines a light on if you're poor, and these people are poor even though they own their own business, because it takes a lot of money to properly defend themselves in a murder case especially. It doesn't lean well with you. I mean, Mr. Avery only had the funds to get two well-respected and expensive lawyers just because he had to settle on his lawsuit against the sheriff's department for when he was convicted of 18 years of prison sentence, and that was like $200,000 to $400,000. And most people today, even with a couple of years of savings, don't have that kind of money. So yes, this documentary is biased in a sense, but looking at it and just reading forums and talking to people, most people believe that he is not guilty. That doesn't mean he didn't do it, but there is definitely not enough evidence to say beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed these murders and rapes. So It's very scary. It's a very good, well made series. I believe it's 10 to 13 episodes, maybe on the 10 side. But it's one of those shows you need to watch this thing straight. You can't be on your phone tweeting or messing around. I mean, you have to watch this thing, but it's not going to be hard to just watch it because it's very gripping and it's very scary and informative. So if you haven't seen this series yet or haven't heard of it, definitely watch it. It's a very tragic story because we're all watching this and thinking that wow, this would be great if like Fox or HBO did this, but this is someone's life, so it's very tragic in that sense too. So hopefully, if you do watch this series, you can hopefully try and get this man out of jail because, in my opinion, he didn't do it, or at least support change in the court system because there is definitely flaws in there. So, hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, share it, like it. Um, yeah. If you like what you've seen here, click below to see more. Thanks, guys.